Dear father, do take a moment to observe the expression on the waiter's face. It is rather unappealing, wouldn't you agree? The young lad lifted his phone, discreetly capturing a moment in time. The table nearby was filled with soft, melodic laughter that danced through the air. The waiter bowed his head gracefully, quietly tending to the spilled coffee upon the table. Someone softly murmured, perhaps a gas explosion or something of that nature. Yet the father stood still, as if time itself had paused. He caught a glimpse of something hidden beneath the waiter's collar. A weathered tattoo, a cherished emblem of a special forces unit he recognized all too intimately. Express your thoughts by saying unfair if you find the act of mocking others utterly intolerable. Welcome to Great Man, where we shall unveil the truth that lies beneath the surface. At the age of 38, Elias Morgan had dedicated his life to serving as a combat medic amidst the tumultuous backdrop of the Fallujah campaign. 5 years prior, he had endured severe burns while heroically rescuing a fellow soldier from a Humvee consumed by flames following an IED strike. The explosion had marred half of his face and neck, leaving behind a haunting reminder of the past, a tapestry of sorrow delicately inscribed upon his skin. Following his medical discharge, Elias withdrew from the embrace of military life, shunning the veterans' gatherings and reunions that could have offered him solace. He found solace in a tranquil town by the river, away from prying eyes, and embraced a role as a waiter at the Riverside Diner, a quaint little spot where he could earn a modest living while savoring the simplicity of fleeting encounters. With each passing day, he bore the weight of their gazes, the hushed murmurs, and the instinctive way parents drew their children nearer as he neared their tables. He crafted a method, approaching from the more gentle side, his less marred aspect, speaking softly, arranging dishes with care, and then gracefully withdrawing. Manager Tom had initially wavered in his decision to assign Elias to front-of-house duties, proposing instead that he take on kitchen work, yet Elias had firmly insisted otherwise. He chose not to conceal himself entirely. On this enchanting Saturday afternoon, Elias gracefully balanced a tray of drinks when he caught the sound of soft laughter trailing behind him. A gathering of teenagers from the local high school exchanged playful nudges, their eyes sparkling with mischief as they pointed discreetly at something intriguing. A young boy, perhaps around 16, lifted his phone with a playful air, feigning a selfie while subtly immortalizing Elias's profile in the soft glow of the moment. The boy leaned in closer to his friends, his voice barely above a whisper, as he beckoned them to witness something that seemed to have stepped right out of a chilling tale. Elias absorbed every word with a tender attentiveness. Since the explosion, his hearing had sharpened, as though it were a delicate dance, compensating for the wounds that marred him. He continued his stride, his expression a composed mask, his hold on the tray unwavering even as the familiar sting of humiliation blossomed within his chest. In a cozy booth nearby, Richard Wilson, a retired Army sergeant, enjoyed a delightful dinner with his teenage son, Liam. Richard was in the midst of elucidating the intricacies of the college application process when his gaze fell upon Elias, gracefully attending to a neighboring table with a pitcher of water. The waiter's sleeve gently rolled back as he reached across, unveiling the delicate edge of a distinctive tattoo adorning his forearm. Richard's fork lingered gracefully in the air, suspended just before his lips. The tattoo, a medic's cross gracefully entwined with a distinctive unit designation, was a mark of the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, his cherished unit in Fallujah. His gaze lingered on Elias's scarred visage, perceiving the beauty that lay hidden beneath the surface. Awareness unfolded gently, then struck with the force of a tempest. "Father?" Liam inquired, observing the unexpected tranquility that enveloped his father. "What troubles your heart?" Richard observed his son and his companions, their laughter echoing as they reveled in Elias's misfortune, capturing yet another moment when the waiter averted his gaze. In a silent yet commanding gesture, Richard extended his hand across the table, gently yet resolutely clasping his son's wrist, compelling the phone to rest upon the surface. "Liam," he murmured, his voice a soft whisper, laced with an intensity that commanded attention. "Your recent actions have truly taken me by surprise, and I must admit, they have left me quite disheartened." The boy's smile wavered delicately. "It is merely an image, dear father. For amusement." Richard's eyes remained fixed on the silhouette of Elias as he gracefully withdrew. That gentleman is not as you perceive him. Far from it. If you hold that a truly good soul merits remembrance, then linger here with us. Richard Wilson gracefully transitioned to civilian life after dedicating 18 years of his service. He had once held the esteemed position of platoon sergeant during the very operations in Fallujah, where Elias had devoted himself as a combat medic. Though they had traversed separate paths in their careers, Richard was well acquainted with the tales that lingered in the air. All were captivated. They referred to him as the doctor who bravely guided four men through the perilous embrace of enemy fire. He received their call, a young medic, who, despite enduring severe burns when their transport was struck, bravely returned to the blazing vehicle time and again to rescue injured Marines. The final man he had rescued was none other than Lieutenant Nathan Wilson, the eldest son of Richard. Nathan had endured, thanks to that devoted medic, yet he still moved with a graceful limp. And now, in a twist of fate, the same man found himself clearing tables at a quaint diner, where the laughter of teenagers echoed as they pointed at his scars. "Liam, may I have your phone, please?" Richard requested, his voice firm yet laced with an undeniable charm. "Father, what is the significance of this matter?" We found ourselves in a moment of pure connection. At this moment, with a hint of hesitation, Liam surrendered his phone. Richard erased the photos, then rose with a sudden grace. "Remain here," he gently instructed his son, before making his way to the manager's station, where a distinguished balding gentleman in his 50s was meticulously reviewing receipts. "Pardon me," Richard remarked, addressing the waiter adorned with burned scars. "May I have a moment of his time in private?" Tom, the manager, appeared rather uneasy. At this moment, Elias is on duty. "Is there an issue with your service, perhaps?" "Of course, my dear. I wish to express my gratitude to him for a cherished moment from the past." Tom slipped away into the kitchen, reappearing moments later with a furrowed brow. He expresses a desire to remain in solitude, shunning the company of others. He keeps the details of his past close to his heart. Richard nodded, a knowing smile gracing his lips. Those who had witnessed what Elias had often favored the embrace of anonymity over the allure of recognition. He gracefully inscribed his name and number upon a delicate napkin. "Kindly present this to him. Convey to him that it is from the father of Lieutenant Wilson. He will surely comprehend." As twilight descended, Richard found himself at his computer, gazing thoughtfully at the empty comment box of a private Facebook group dedicated to veterans of the Iraq campaigns. His fingers danced gracefully above the keyboard before he commenced his typing. "Today, I witnessed a hero, clad in a waiter's uniform, enduring mockery. The doctor who heroically saved my son and many others during Operation Phantom Fury is now serving meals in my beloved hometown, braving the scorn for the marks he bears, a testament to the lives he saved among the brave Marines. What have we transformed into when we overlook the price of devotion, even as it graces us with its presence?" As the clock struck midnight, the post had gracefully danced its way into the hearts of many, being shared 197 times across esteemed veteran networks. By the break of dawn, it had gracefully touched the lives of several thousand veterans and military families across 3 states. In the meantime, Liam's friends shared their own images of Elias online, accompanied by teasing captions, blissfully ignorant of the tempest that was brewing. In a matter of hours, their post became a cascade of comments from both veterans and active duty service members, fervently calling for the removal of the images and the issuance of heartfelt apologies. "That is the esteemed combat medic, Elias Morgan," remarked one commenter. "You are showing a lack of respect towards a man who has touched more lives in a single day than you may ever hope to in your entire existence." Elias remained blissfully oblivious to the unfolding circumstances around him. He devoted himself to his Sunday morning shift, maintaining a quiet focus as he always did. Yet, a transformation had taken place. Customers gazed upon him with a newfound recognition, their eyes reflecting admiration rather than disdain. On a languid Sunday afternoon, a letter graced the diner, addressed with a delicate simplicity to Doc Morgan. Within lay a beautifully penned note. "You bore me through 2 kilometers of perilous terrain, cradling my broken form as enemy fire raged around us. While you wash the dishes, I shall happily take on the task of mopping the floors." There are certain debts that remain eternally unrepayable. How to cultivate a spirit of gratitude as a Marine. The manager gently set the letter upon the table in the break room, his perception of his reserved employee blossoming with the passage of time. It seems rather unjust. If you hold the conviction that no soul should endure ridicule for the scars they bear in their noble quest to shield others. On that enchanting Monday morning, Riverside Diner unveiled a sight unlike any other. By 7 a.m., a dozen gentlemen and ladies adorned in their distinguished military dress uniforms graced the restaurant with their presence. They entered with a gentle grace, selecting their tables with care, and each set a delicate card that read, "Thank you, Doc," elegantly beside their water glasses. As the clock struck 8 a.m., the figure had gracefully doubled. The diner, usually serene on Monday mornings, resonated with the presence of Marines, Army, and Navy personnel, each seated with impeccable posture, engaging in respectful conversation, patiently awaiting their turn. As Elias graced the entrance at 8:30, he remained blissfully unaware of the surprises that lay in wait for him. He lingered at the threshold, absorbing the expanse of uniforms that surrounded him. His initial impulse was to withdraw, to step away and never again face the unwelcome gaze that lingered upon him. Yet, an invisible force held him steadfast in that moment. With a hint of trepidation, Tom made his way forward. "Elias, these souls have gathered here for you. I was unaware." His voice trembled softly. "I was unaware of your identity." With a graceful air, Elias glided into the break room, adorned himself with his apron, and commenced his familiar routine. His hands quivered ever so gently as he filled the water glasses, yet his expression held an air of serene composure. As he drew near the first table of Marines, a gunnery sergeant gracefully rose to his feet and executed a flawless salute. "Doc Morgan," he uttered, his voice resonating in the hushed diner. "Thank you for ensuring that no one was left behind that night." Elias remained motionless, the water pitcher held firmly in his grasp. The sergeant offered his hand, and after a brief pause, Elias accepted it with a gentle shake. One by one, the esteemed veterans drew near. Some graciously presented themselves as companions from the units with which he had shared his journey. Others were merely comrades in arms, united in a bond of solidarity. A woman adorned in navy dress blues presented him with a delicate box, within which lay a shimmering purple heart. She spoke of her father, revealing the depths of her heart. He had been one of the souls Elias had rescued, yet he departed from this world last year, succumbing to the complications that arose from his injuries. With a gentle whisper, she confided, "He made me promise to return this to you if I ever found you." He remarked that it was the possession of the true hero of Fallujah. As the morning sun reached its zenith, local news crews began to assemble outside, their presence a testament to the unfolding story. Tom, who merely days prior had advised Elias to reduce his front-of-house shifts due to the discomfort his appearance caused some patrons, now stood before the cameras, proclaiming with great honor how fortunate the diner was to employ such a hero. Richard Wilson graced the scene accompanied by his two sons, Liam and Lieutenant Nathan Wilson. The latter approached Elias with a notable limp, each step echoing a story of resilience. "You may not recall me," Nathan began. In a soft murmur, Elias responded, indicating the third vehicle in the convoy, a fractured femur accompanied by shrapnel wounds to the lower back. "Despite the fracture in your leg, you persistently endeavored to rise." The two men shared a tender embrace as cameras immortalized the moment. Nathan gazed at his younger brother with a gentle warmth. "Liam wishes to share a thought with you." The young soul who once captured Elias's image in jest now stood before him, cheeks aglow with a tender blush of remorse. "I apologize," he murmured, his voice a mere whisper. "I was unaware. I acted foolishly and with a lack of kindness. There exists no justification." Elias gazed upon the boy's visage. "Text, I absolve you," he uttered with a gentle grace. "Always keep in mind that while we do not select the manner in which we are hurt, we hold the power to decide how we extend our kindness to one another in the aftermath." As the afternoon sun cast its warm glow, the once viral photos gracefully gave way to a fresh collection of captivating images. Elias, enveloped by seasoned veterans. Elias exchanged a graceful handshake with Nathan Wilson. Amidst the lively commotion, Elias gracefully continued to serve the tables. His serene grace revealed in each subtle gesture. During a serene pause, Tom made his way toward him. "My dearest Elias, I find it necessary to express my sincerest apologies. In moments when customers voiced their discontent regarding your appearance, I ought to have defended you with unwavering support. Instead, I requested that you take on shifts that are less conspicuous. I acknowledge my mistake." Elias received the apology with a graceful nod. As the day drew to a close, Tom gracefully affixed a freshly printed sign beside the entrance of the diner. "We take great pride in having American heroes among our esteemed staff. Here stands the esteemed Medal of Honor nominee, Elias Morgan." As Elias meticulously polished the tables that evening, Richard Wilson remained nearby, biding his time until they found themselves in a moment of relative solitude. "What brings us to this place?" he inquired with a gentle simplicity. "With your impressive background, you could easily secure a multitude of positions dedicated to serving veterans or in roles that foster connections within the military community." Elias pondered the question with a thoughtful grace. "For here, I am simply Elias. It is not a tale of sorrow. This is not a call for recruits, not a recollection of the most sorrowful day in anyone's existence." He lingered for a moment. "Or at least I once was." Richard nodded, a gentle understanding gracing his expression. At times, the burden of heroism bore a weight far beyond the understanding of those who walked the ordinary path. As dawn broke, the Riverside Diner welcomed a queue of eager patrons that wound gracefully around the block. Veterans, military families, and community members gathered with eager anticipation, longing for the moment they could grasp Elias's hand or be graciously attended to by him. The local teenagers who had once ridiculed him were present as well, softly distributing flyers for a fundraiser dedicated to supporting wounded warriors. Have you ever found the courage to stand firm when all others turned their backs? Your tale holds significance as well. 1 month later, Elias found himself in possession of an official letter from the Pentagon, extending an invitation to a ceremony that would pay tribute to the valiant battlefield medics. The correspondence alluded to the potential bestowal of the Medal of Honor, a recognition long suggested yet postponed by the intricacies of administration. Elias gently folded the letter, tucking it away in the sanctuary of his locker at the diner. He possessed no desire to be present. The acknowledgement, though cherished, seemed to clash with the serene existence he had carefully crafted for himself. "You're not truly considering it, are you?" Tom inquired, his voice laced with concern as Elias spoke of turning down the invitation. "I am perfectly content right here," Elias replied with a gentle smile. "I seek not the adornments of medals or the grandeur of ceremonies. I long for ordinary days where I am seen for who I truly am, beyond the scars of my past." The diner had transformed in delicate, understated ways. Once, customers sought various servers, but now they specifically yearned for Elias's section. The veterans continued to visit with regularity, yet they honored his desire for a sense of normalcy, seeing him as Elias the waiter instead of Doc the valiant hero. On a Tuesday morning, Elias discovered a handwritten card delicately positioned on his familiar break room chair. It spoke softly, "Your scars are the medals we cannot don in your honor." Though it bore no signature, he instantly recognized the elegant strokes of Liam Wilson's handwriting. Gazing through the service window, he beheld Liam and a few classmates gracefully gathered in the dining area. Rather than phones lifted to document his scars, they held open notebooks. With grace, I observed as an off-duty paramedic elegantly demonstrated the art of basic first aid techniques, my notes capturing each moment with care. Tom graciously offered the space for weekly first aid classes, a heartfelt tribute to Elias's dedicated service. "It appears to be the bare minimum we could offer," he remarked with a gentle shrug. Elias observed the young souls as they diligently practiced the art of tourniquets and pressure bandages, the very same techniques he had employed amidst the flames of conflict. The vision awakened a feeling that had lain quietly within him for far too long. Perhaps there is a certain beauty in embracing visibility, imperfections, and all. True honor dwells not in medals or uniforms. It resides within those who bear scars, yet nurture no animosity. And at times, a serene figure, tidying up the tables, once wielded the profound weight of life and death, safeguarding the last breaths of a whole platoon. Have you ever found yourself misjudged merely by the way you appear? Unveil your tale, for your journey is worthy of admiration as well. Join us on a journey of enchanting tales, where the essence of truth unfolds and dignity is rekindled through the most delicate of expressions.